Alrighty, boys. Welcome back to another one of this week's Manager's Review. This will be week 10. Today, man, this week, the West fights back against the East with some pretty big wins over some of our guys here in the East. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I got beat by Brooks. Owen beat Oz. Sam beat Chris. Julie beat Connor. Gray beat Will. Matthew was the only one in our division to take home a win this week, so good job to the guys in the Western Division. Some big injuries. Both guys coming back or rumored to come back, and guys getting hurt. Aaron Judge out for 4 to 6 weeks a minimum. That's going to hurt for Ryan. Uh, and then Parrot Scooble might be coming back this week, as early as this week. Looks like they're probably not going to have him on maybe a rehab assignment or just one. So that's fascinating. But so today what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little bit of savant reading, just pitcher savants, how to read them, what do I look at, trades. We're gonna talk about some trade strategies, stuff that I think about. Also the trade cost, which I enacted on the league this week. Waiver wire stuff. We'll go through it briefly, and same with the matchups. But let's just hop right into pitcher savants. Yeah, you see that? Yes. Okay. Let's just pick a picture here. Maybe not that guy. He's tough. Let's go check out Bryce Elder. So these numbers up here, this is always the first thing you see. This is his results, right? This is how good all of his things, his pitch types, and overall pitching has been on a results basis. So you can see he's been a great pitcher. His fastball's been been doing really, really, really well. That's probably that new cutter he's added on top of the four seamer and sinker, breaking ball, and his off speed, which would be his changeup. But just looking down here, so things are a little bit different. So you know how for hitters, it was all contact metrics, stuff like launch angle, exit velocity, that all goes together to build these expected stats. Well, it's basically the same thing. We're using the exact same stats. It's just what if you amalgamated every batted ball against this pitcher and made that into a batter, how would they be doing? Based on those contract metrics, that's basically all of this stuff. Plus, I don't know, things aren't quite as grouped quite as well on the pitcher page. So like xERA, xBA, exit velo, chase whiff, barrel, hard hit, ground ball. Those are your hitter expected stats that the pitcher's producing here. The rest of the stuff is results with this K and walk rate, as well as the extension, which is sort of just how far down the mound does he get before he releases the ball, right? What is the actual distance the ball is traveling? The higher this number is, the farther down the mound you get, right? So like a guy like Mizorowski is 99th percentile on that. But you can see Elder doesn't walk a ton of guys, limits barrels, so he's probably going to be good on home runs. Doesn't sometimes give up hard hits, but most of them are line drives based on this barrel rate, probably. Very few fly balls. And his ground ball rate is still above average. So the expected stats love him. The way hitters are angling the ball against him, not very good, that sort of thing. But the thing with pitchers is there's a lot of intangibles, stuff like how deceptive they are, what their arm angle is, how they use their pitch mix against different handed guys. You can see he's throwing that cutter a lot more. Another thing I like to do is just flip. It's like, hey, is this guy actually doing anything different this year? So what you do is you go to 2025. Okay, well, he wasn't throwing his cutter at all. He sucked. He's using his slider a lot more, using his changeup. He's throwing his four seam. You go, okay, well, now he's got a game plan. He's got an absolute game plan against it. That's totally different. So he's throwing his sinker tons to right-handers, still doing a sinker slider thing. But to lefties, he's using this cutter. He's using the changeup. He's throwing this four seam a lot more, and still throwing his slider in on the hands. So you can tell he's definitely got a whole other game plan. uh, against those types of guys. Now that's going to vary. There's not like really two types of pitchers like there are two types of hitters, right? With hitters, you've got guys whose plate approach is great and guys who make really great contact and have power. That's like the two types of hitters you deal with. Sometimes you see guys who do both. Sometimes you see exceptions. But with pitchers, you never really know. Like there's sinker, slider, ground ball guys. There's power pitchers. There's lefties with weird stuff going on. There's lefties with changeups. There's a bunch of different archetypes of pitcher that can make a guy effective, and not it's not always going to be reflected in these stats. For example, a guy like Merrill Kelly. I mean, you go to his page, and yeesh, holy cow, this sucks. Well, Merrill Kelly's been good for 2 years, and it hasn't ever looked particularly spectacular. Now, he's always gotten great whiffs, but this is a guy who uses other things to his advantage. Perfect, like great locating pitches, knowing how to pitch guys that make him effective. Now, this year, I'm not so sure that that is going to work for him quite as well, but we'll see. Another guy who's like that, Ranger Suarez. You can see like he gets really great results. Doesn't have the fastball velo, but he's getting this from somewhere else, and it's mainly hard contact stuff and deception that makes him so good. So that's a basic how I read pitcher savants. As far as other things go, you can go look at his splits, see how he's doing against lefties. He's Ranger Suarez, same guy against lefties and righties, basically. Statcast standard. You can look at where is it? I don't know. I was looking for batting average, but you can also see this is all of his pitch mix stuff over his entire career. So you can see this cutter and starting to throw that cutter a lot more. A lot of guys developing cutters. So loof, guys can pull the ball in the air against him. That's not great. This is all his contact stuff. I don't look at most of this on pitchers. This is a fun one, So basically, if these things all overlap, that means the pitcher's more deceptive because the spin axis is going the same way. So to a hitter, it looks the same, right? So his sinker, his four seamer, and his cutter, and sometimes his changeup, basically all look like the same pitch out of hand. That's really great because you can see here is the observed movement. So the movement of that pitch, this is seam shifted wake, is not the same as the way that the spin is actually moving on the ball. And that really helps as far as deception. His curveball is not really that great at it. His sinker and his changeup do that massively well. And his four seamer gets a little bit more ride as well as his cutter. So that's stuff that's really, really good. This is like, if I've got no idea why a guy's good, I usually come here, as well as this heat map. You can see how is he locating stuff. Cutter inside on lefties looks amazing. Sinker away from lefties and on righties. That's what you want to do. Looking good. But that's just a brief thing for how I evaluate pitchers, just looking at a Savant page. Now let's go and talk about some trades. So I'm just going to run through my process for trades in this specific year because there's a lot of unique things going on. So what I've noticed is a lot of top 100 picks are struggling, and it's mostly veteran guys, but it's dudes with long track records. Guys like Manny Machado, Trey Turner, Bo Bichette, really struggling. So I've been trying to buy those guys because we've got a history. Sure, some of them might not work out, but I have faith in pretty much all of them, with maybe the exception of Sal Perez, and they got like Vinny Pasquantino. They're the only two I'm really afraid of. If you are looking at your lineup and it's not looking pretty, go get one of them. Go to Chris, come to me, send offers for pitchers or for other hitters on guys that you think might be overperforming a little bit. A guy like Jake Bowers has been really, really awesome, but would you rather have him than another first baseman sort of struggling? Like, would you take him over Pasquantino the rest of the way? That might be one where I might actually say, yes, I'd rather have Jake Bowers. But those are the kind of things I think about. Now, another basic thing is try to do pitchers for hitters or hitters for pitchers. I always prefer to be on the hitter side of that deal. I like trading pitchers for hitters, which is why I don't have a pitching staff. Um, but it's just better. Pitchers are more volatile week to week, and and overall, they're going to get hurt. Um, so like just being able to pick up guys who are having good matchups or stream them in our league, it's really tough. I got bit by that last week, but it's something that I always think is an option. So I'm more open to trading pitchers for hitters than the other way around. But it's easier to evaluate hitters, right? When a hitter is overperforming, it's very easy to go and look at that BABIP and say, oh, he's running a 360 BABIP. He's only done a 290 or 300 one for his whole career. Yeah, this guy's going to regress. Like a dude like, I don't know. I haven't tried to trade him, but I'm pretty sure Casey Schmidt, who has looked really good, um, just like his BABIP is just through the roof. Okay, not quite. It's still a little bit high for him, 294, which would be league average, but he seems to run lower ones. So it's normalized. But that was like 350 earlier in the year, and you can see he regressed because of it. But now he's coming back and he's looking a little bit more legit. But hitters I find are easier to evaluate statistically. Pitchers are more nebulous. You kind of got to get a feel for a guy. Like when I saw Parker Messick pitch against the Dodgers in the first week of the season, I knew immediately he was going to be a guy who was really good. He had the look to him. I don't know how to describe it. But so I trade. Let's just move on to him. I traded him away. Why? Well, this is another thing I look for. How do I think guys are going to project the rest of the season? Things I take into account. How old are they? What is their sprint speed? Are they doing things a lot? Are they playing a very tough position, like catcher or pitching? Are they young? Are they inexperienced? Do they have a track record? Those are things I consider. So Messick, a rookie, no track record, very intensive mechanics, looks great, sort of inefficient. These things all made me decide that rest of season I'd rather have somebody who maybe is injured right now. So I went out and traded a couple pitchers for Rooker, who's just awful right now. Although he had 2-3 home runs this weekend. But looking for a bounce back from him, and I also got Hunter Green, who I think is going to be a stud when he comes back in mid-July, probably. But that's what I was thinking. You know, I think selling high on rookies is great. It's a good option. Of course, you're risking a lot. You know, I've been reluctant to trade Sal Stewart, even though maybe I should have. But to me, the upside he displayed was just clearly worth holding him. Even though I think the league is going to adjust to him and he's going to slump, maybe for a while. You know, maybe until July or August. I don't care, but I want to hold him for when he breaks back out again and figures it out because I think he's talented enough for that. But that's other guys, and so what I want to do in a trade is guy who I think is playing over his head for guy who's playing under his head. Right? It sucks to trade a guy who's doing really great for you, but it's big what, and to buy a guy who's not doing well. But that's how you make profitable trades. You have to take risks. And if you don't, and especially for guys low in standings, like Gray, I see you a lot of time if you're listening to this. Like, oh, my team sucks. How do I make it better? Take a risk. Trade for a guy who's not doing well, who's got a great track record like me, Machado. Spend some bucks to go out and get those guys who you just have got a feeling about. Watch a couple games of theirs, see how they look. That's what I do. But overall, yeah, guy who's overperforming, guy who's underperforming, try to match it up, feel your needs. And a lot of times price enforce. You know, that's what I was doing. I was thinking to myself, you know, Rooker was a top 50 pick. But he sucked so bad. Like, let's just see if he's still worth that. And Sam made the decision that he wasn't. And that's fine with me. I will take a guy who was picked in the 50s for a Messick who was a waiver wire pickup for me. But, you know, that's just value. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So that's my basic philosophy when trying to make trades. So we'll go ahead and move on to the waiver wire stuff. Again, a lot like last week, just pretty bad. There's a little bit more going on out there. There's a couple short stops if you're struggling. Bogarts and Swanson are out on the waiver wire. They're all right. Same with Moreno at catcher. If you're struggling, you need a catcher. Alec Boehm at third base has had a pretty hot week last week. He scored 19 points or whatever over his last 7. So, hey, he's hot. If somebody's looking for third base, pick him up. I said this before. Nicky Gonzalez hitting for loads of batting average at Pittsburgh. He looks pretty good. Not a guy I think long term is going to be sustainable, but if you need to plug and play a second or third baseman, he's not a bad choice. Spencer Horwitz, still out there, still running 2.7 points a game. Great floor on this guy. Somebody pick him up. He had a run off the Braves the other day. Carlos Cortez. I would pick him up this week. Somebody needs to do it because the A's are playing a series against Milwaukee in Vegas. Vegas is, I mean, Sacramento is like Kauffman Stadium compared to the Las Vegas minor league stadium that's there. It's going to be a shell fest, especially with how bad some of the Brewers guys they've been running out there. Like, I've always got faith in the Brewers, but dudes like Brandon Sproat, Coleman Crow, they've not really looked all that great. So I expect, even I think Kyle Harrison starting there, I would be skeptical. I would be scared to use him in that matchup. But Carlos Cortez is a dude who I think is going to absolutely mash in that environment. But just pray that they check the pitching matchups, make sure they've got some righties up there. I know Harrison's a lefty, so he might not get a net bat in that game, but the other dudes are righties, if I'm not mistaken. Chase Mydroff had a really good week. He's a shortstop and a second baseman if you need to plug somebody in there. Jake Berger sort of slowed down. If you're shooting for some upside, some homers, go ahead and go for him. Matt McClain, he's got shortstop eligibility now. He's been sneaky. He had 3 home runs over the weekend. Still not getting played every day. But I think with Eliela Cruz out, he's going to see regular playing time and maybe could get hot. He's an option. Certainly, a lot of people have been burned by him. Jake McCarthy continues to do well. JP Crawford, he's day-to-day right now with you got hit in the hand. So just maybe wait on that one. Noelvi Marte, back up in the big leagues. This is one I would really tap into. If you need an outfielder, you need a third baseman. Owen, I'm looking at you. Pick this guy up. He has absolutely mashed in AAA. Tons of power. Hit like 380 with 10 home runs or something. And he's been shakier at the big league level, but that kind of stuff means that he should probably be rostered. Anybody really listening, but I know Owen needs outfielders. Ewing, good prospect. That's all I have to say about him. He's sort of been in a little mini slump lately. Although over his past 4 games, he's got 12 points. Maybe he'll be good there. Troy Johnston, Colorado is who the A's are going to. No, I think they play a home series against Colorado and Sacramento. So, and then their Rockies other 3 games are at home. Troy Johnston or any Rockies hitter, Jake McCarthy, they could be good options. Lars Nootbaar's back. If you need an outfielder, hey, if you got a real schmucker bum, take a chance on Lars Nootbaar. He's a good guy. Let's move on to pitchers now. Kai Tang continues to throw really well, sort of behind an opener or as a bulk relief guy for Houston. He's interesting. Shane Drohan, Drohan for the Brewers. Young Brewers pitcher. How many times can they do this? They've got a great development staff. They continue to turn struggling young guys into awesome versioning aces. I would take a chance on him. What's his matchup this week? The Phillies, not great. If you're really in desperate need of a start, I'd do it. I'm mainly talking about streamers. There's no guys on our waiver wire as far as pitching goes that I'd really be absolutely off. I'd really love to roster. So I'm just going to point out some guys who I think have good matchups. Chris Bassett today at Seattle. That's all right. He goes against San Diego, though, later in the week. So if you've got the space to start him, I'd do that. Like I said, Shane Drohan. Rhett Lauder pitches. That is Saturday. Saturday against Arizona. I don't mind that. Grayson Rodriguez, 2-start week. Houston and Tampa. That's sort of scary. Giolito gets Cincinnati. Mike Burrows gets KC. I'd be okay doing either of those. Man, but I've had some bad streaming opportunities. Okay, here's one. Kyle Leahy on Friday against Minnesota. I like that. That's doable. If you want to feel a little bit risky, Kumar Rocker on Wednesday against KC. Mania pitches against ATL. Don't start him against us. Corbin, 2 starts, Phillies, Yankees, don't touch that. Sugano at the Athletics. Yeah, that's Dookie. Don't touch that one. Saccone against the Yankees without Judge at Cleveland. That might be useful. Tyler Phillips at Arizona. Maybe Sprode at Athletics. Don't do that one. Perkins against Milwaukee. I'd stay away. Griffin Canning at Baltimore. Could do that. Michaelis at San Francisco, and then Sunday against Seattle at home. If you're feeling really, really risky, I would do that one. But other than that, stay away. And that's pretty much it. That's the only Hunter Dobbins. I've got no idea about him, but he plays against he's pitching against the Mets, so maybe it'll work out. But most of those guys I wouldn't hate. I think Saccone against the Yankees is one of the better ones. Leahy against Minnesota would probably be my first choice. Or my second choice behind Kai Tang at the Angels. And those three are the only ones that I really love. The rest of them, do at your own risk. So now let's go take a quick look at our matchups from last week. Who did great? Who did bad? What players are killing you? Which ones are saving you? We'll start off with myself and Brooks. Jeez, this was a rough week, sort of for both of us, but especially for me. The pitching failed me. I messed up. I streamed some bad guys, and I wouldn't have even won even if they'd done really well. They'd have to have done great, but they went negative, and that killed me. Tyone, 0 points. Coleman Crow, -10. Sandlin, -9. Guys like DeLauder and Bogarts killed me as well. Sal Stewart still slumping. Tatis still not great. Soto went 2 for 24. None of these guys I'm concerned about, but just down weeks for them. On Brooks' side, Matt Chapman had 40 points after sort of sucking it up all week. He's really looked really great recently. Same with Kerry Carpenter. He's had 2 really good weeks, and he looks like he's locked in. Brandon Young, a guy that hasn't been talked about at all, but has a 3.47 ERA and is consistently getting good pitching outings and quality starts. 6 innings in all of his last 3 starts. Could he be a guy? Could he be more than just a guy? I'm not sure, but let's take a look at his hunt page. So let's do a little analysis here. I'll let you guys take a look at this. I see, like, this is so hard to evaluate. So I'm noticing he gets chases, but he does not get whiffs. So his stuff probably stinks. And how are his locations? Ooh. Oh. He can throw his fastball as well, but his off-speed stuff is not located well. Look at that slider hanging right in the middle of the plate. I don't love that. That's probably if he can get this figured out, I guess he's going to be good. But as long as he has struggles to locate that slider, my guess is he's going to be more of a 4.5 ERA guy going down the stretch than this 3.47 he's throwing. But still a useful and rosterable pitcher in our league. But that's all I've really got for us. I mean, Kohanowitz exploded. He should not be rostered. He's also on the IL now. McGill struggled. Same as for Anthony Dominguez. They're both pretty fine. Dominguez, I would probably get rid of. He hasn't gotten a save in a minute, and is sort of pitching in bulk relief now for them, or just non-leverage situations. So Not great. Bregman continues to suck. Don't know what to do with him. He was supposed to be more usable in our league, even playing for the Cubs. Not the case. Uh, Oz versus Owen. Jeez, man. I mean, Owen put the hurt on Oz. 100 plus points or 98 points above him. Oz this year or this week. Dubon. I mean, Dubon. He hit 3 home runs in 3 days over the weekend. The guy's a beast. Is he going to be amazing moving forward? I wouldn't count on it. But, I mean, I'm looking at a Savant page. His plate approach is pretty good. It looks a lot. It's like Chandler Simpson, except if it was a little bit better. Really good at locating the ball on the bat. Not much else. And he takes his walks when he can. Or he doesn't walk, but he doesn't strike out very much. Hold him. Grant Taylor, awesome. This is the guy to have in the White Sox bullpen. The bot was right. Sam should have just held him, I guess. Still a great pitcher. Same with Kyle Harrison. PCA looks like he's back. All good stuff going on Owen's team, especially on the pitching side. These waiver wire guys are really shaping up to be useful. Soler, dead. Get him off your roster. Senzatella continues to struggle. Luke Rayleigh, 2 for 15. A lot of righties on the schedule. Didn't hit well when he was playing. But all righties on the schedule next week. So I guess hold him if you're listening, Owen. Nick Martinez stunk for Oz. We all knew it was coming. So just play your matchups carefully. That was against Miami. Don't know what to say. Springs had a rough outing against Houston. That's a real shame. He's still worth it. Eugenio Suarez, another older veteran guy who's struggling. If I was Oz, I would try to sell him for a pitcher right now because I'll just need to plug him in at third base. He's got somebody else. Also has somebody else he can slot over there. I don't remember. Michael Garcia, who's also struggling. So trade one of those guys away and do some price enforcing. Like, I don't know. Maybe a dude like Sal Stewart. You start asking, trading that would be tough for me. I don't know if I would accept those, but that would be hard. But Ace is gonna ace, Slugger's gonna slug. Corbin Carroll, Joe Ryan, Bryce Durant, top thoughts this list. Trent Grisham, sneaky guy. I love him. He's got tons of power. He just doesn't pull the ball in the air. Andy Diaz and McLean, great. Yeah, Trey Turner bounced back a little bit, 4 for 16, 10, 17. Chung Hoo Lee was on Oz's bench for most of when he got a bunch of points, but he went 3 for 8 when Oz had him in. Moving on, our marquee matchup and our top scorer this week, which was Sam, Mr. Habzora AI, came out swinging against Chris, who also had an amazing week. And these are two teams I'm going to have to evaluate, think hard about in the rankings. They did just awesome this week, and it's second or third week in a row Chris has lost to an opponent who's having a really great week when he himself also had an awesome week. But Jackson Churio, I tried to buy him when he was kind of stinking, and Chris wasn't having it. Good call. Isak Paredes, 3 home runs this weekend. He's looking like he's the same guy as always. Bryce Miller, Adley Rushman. I mean, these are dudes people were sleeping on heavy going into draft season that Chris has either picked up or done something with. Noah Cameron, same deal. Great job. He looks like he might be a bit more legit. The downs for Chris, Nolan Arenado, 2 for 17, 6 strikeouts. Machado continues to stink. He's been benched. Seth Lugo had a rough outing, 5 earned runs, 5 innings pitched. Not the worst thing ever. He'll bounce back. Jackson Merrill, 3 for 22, but he did have a home run. Hopefully he starts to see the ball better. Luke Keeschel, 4 for 22. Not great. Not sure what they're going to do with him. Royce Lewis getting reps at second base in AAA. I'd be worried. For Sam, the man himself, Hunter Goodman. He had 4 home runs this week, 38 points, 6 for 22. I mean, Jesus, the guy is locked in, hitting bombs, and he's going to hit more bombs this week. For sure. Soroka continues to pitch well. I don't think it's going to continue, but he's going to be more useful than any dude on the waiver wire. So you're on Duran, 3 innings pitched, 3 saves, almost 30 points. Nothing to say there. Same with Varland, who looks like this year's breakout closer. Struggling guys. Andy Paz took a little bit of a step back, same with Brian Wu. Perdomo. Perdomo's a tough one because he's the guy that he's always been, except for last year. So his trade value is sort of in the tank. Not sure what you could do with him other than bench him or drop him, Sam. That's sort of a rough one. You could shop him around, see if anybody wants to take that risk. But he's sort of sucking it out for you. Curtis Meade got picked up. Thank you for doing that. I think he's going to be good. I don't like that I'm playing you this week, though. Luis Garcia Jr. stunk. Jack Leiter had a bad outing. That's Jack Leiter for you. And we're going to move on. But good stuff from both of those teams. So, the Barrel Scrapers, Will Kyle, and Gray faced off, and Gray put them to shame. Come on, Will, Will and Kyle. You guys are representing the East, and you're just gonna do this to us? That's shameful, but congratulations to Gray. He had a really great week. DeGrom headline with 11 innings pitched to 43 points. Amazing stuff there. Brandon Marsh and Vargas. Vargas especially looks like a real breakout this year. Marsh playing a little bit over his head and doing what he does, that weird all-contact plate approach with a little bit of power, tons of whiff in his game. Really weird dude, but Reed Detmers continues to look like he was breaking out. Dalton Rushing actually got some playing time and hit a homer. Did pretty well. He hit that yesterday. Dalen Lyle continues to look good. Christian Walker, slower week. Not worried about him. I think he'll continue to be decent down the stretch. Although, if you're going to decide to sell high on him, I wouldn't hate that. Adames had a big week, but he was not in the lineup for those games. 2-homer game last Thursday. That's a bit of a shame. Too bad. Will had some really unlucky pitching performances, which even if they'd gone well, I don't know if he would have won, because Gray put up 300 points, which is basically what I consider the standard to have a quote-unquote good week. Like, you need to have 300 points consistently if I think you want to have a better than 50% chance of winning. But Davis Martin, Steven Matz, same deal as Nick Martinez. All these guys are getting propped up by Ray's smart lab pitching. They're going to make mistakes. Their execution is not good enough to rely on that demon changeups that they're throwing. They're going to take steps back. TJ Rumfield, keep him in there. He sucked this week, but I think the Rockies have great matchups moving to next week. So keep an eye on him. On Will's side, Cater Montero did not do well for Gray, but I'm not worried about any of the dudes besides Tony Santillan at the bottom of his list. Get rid of Santillan. I don't think he's going to get that closer job, and he looks really bad. Christopher Sanchez continues to be arguably the number one NL Cy Young candidate. Will needs offense. Knock on his door. If you're listening to this right now, go and send Will and Kyle a trade offer for Christopher Sanchez. I don't care what it takes, but it would be healthy for the league if somebody did that, both for their own team. Like, give him a bunch of hitters. Give him tons of hitters. To improve his lineup. If you're a guy with the excess of hitters, Matthew, looking at you maybe. But Christopher Sanchez is the only thing keeping your team alive, along with Zach Wheeler, who did amazing. But you've got two aces. I mean, you could offload them for a haul of 6 players, probably. So think about doing that. Liam Hicks continued to sneakily do very well. And that's going to do it for that matchup. But great congratulations to Gray for duking it out with his partner from our division and winning. Connor versus Julie, another blowout. Julie had more than 100 points on Connor, 359 to 248. Led by Gage Jump, a great rookie who is looking like maybe he's starting to break out. I don't like that he pitches in the Athletic Stadium, and be careful using him in Las Vegas this week. That's going to be bad, I suspect, so I might bench him. No, actually, he's against the Rockies at home for his start, so maybe, probably starting him for that. Jake Bowers continues to mash. Roki Sasaki, wow. I mean, he looks like he's breaking out right now. That harder splitter is crazy. He can locate it better. It's more effective than his slower splitter that he was throwing. I would be willing to buy Roki Sasaki for a pretty penny right now. Maybe shop him around. If I'm you, Julie, I don't know what you could get for him, but if you could get like I don't know, a Nolan McLean back for him, I'd do that. Maybe start investigating. Uh, Pretty much everybody's done how they were. Dylan Lee, sneaky good reliever, 18 points. Props to Julie for that one. Byron Bayo stinks. Chandler Simpson had a rough week, 1 for 12. Taj Bradley, stinky week. Carlos Cortez as well. And Miller didn't get to pitch much. The Padres aren't winning very many games. This is the thing about closers. If their team isn't getting any wins or any save chances, they don't get any points, which that sucks. Pasquantino for Will, for on the downs, for Connor. Ryan O'Hearn got back. He hit a homer, but Connor didn't get it. Other than that, he went 2 for 12. Munoz blew a save yesterday. That's a shame, but he'll bounce back. Andrew Vaughn sort of struggling, and Pasquantino, man, he looks rough. That bat speed's still down. He's got to have an injury or something. I might even consider dropping him at this point. Roop had 2 bad starts. McClanahan had a bad one. None of these guys I'm really worried about. Roop, maybe pick your spots a little bit more carefully. James Wood had a slower week for him, but he's going to be a little bit more volatile. Iglesias got 3 saves. Alonso mashing 7 for 23 with 2 home runs. Jeremy Pena 9 for 23, 4 RBI, 7 runs, 3 stolen, 3 doubles, 24 points. Great. I mean, good week for him, but you're going to need him to not be your top scorer there if you want to win any more matchups. And now Jack and Matthew. Matthew had a down week, and he was playing Jack, which is just sort of a shame. He still had some guys who scored amazingly. Shohei Ohtani, namely, got 50 points. Jack didn't have anything that came close to that. In fact, Erod, who was his top scorer, had 27, so Shohei almost doubled his top scorer's points. And these top 3 just make all the difference. Alcantara, Alvarez, all over almost 40 points. So Jacob the Mizorowski. I mean, Mizorowski is, if you haven't watched a full start of his this year, do it. He is something special, man. Elite extension, throws 103 miles per hour, 99 mile per hour cutter, 92 mile per hour slider. The guy, he's the nastiest pitcher I've seen in a long time. Same with Nolan McLean. I love him. This is on another level. I mean, he's just crazy. I watched him dice up the Rockies, and it was a bad start by his metrics. He gave up a run. It was unearned, but still crazy things. Peyton Tolley, I mean, Matthew and I talked about that. He's a hilarious dude. I love him. Nick Kurtz looking good. 2 home runs this week. Bleday, 4 for 26, did have a homer, but maybe a little bit of regression there for JJ Bleday. You don't know how long I've been waiting to say that. Man, really some struggles from some of Matthew's pitchers, namely in his bullpen. I mean, Ashby and Adam got a couple points, but that's not really what you want. I don't know if I was Matthew, maybe I would consider trying some other guys on for size. Austin Riley, yikes. What do you do with him? Another veteran that is struggling. I'd like to price and force on him, but I don't need a third baseman. So Kyle Bradish had a really rough outing. Just couldn't locate that curveball. He goes by his curveball. This is his best pitch. Pete Fairbanks got a save, 2 2.3 innings. It's pretty good. But on the downs for Jack, like I said, not a ton to cheer about here. He only had like 15 guys even get points for him. So Jack, you're breaking my heart, man. You're breaking my heart. You need to come down here, and I'll fix your team. That's what we'll have, Jack. If you're listening to this, I'll bring you on the show. We'll do a workshop, and I will fix your team for you. How does that sound? We'll make that a deal. Respond. But great week to everybody who won, and good luck to all those who lost going forward. But hopefully you guys enjoyed these tips, and good luck going forward. This is Davis signing out. See you later.